feel like coming out shouldn't be phrased that way. It shouldn't be called coming out. It should be called letting you in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I let you
I
in,
like
what you do with that information will determine if I open that door to my house again.
Oof, that's really powerful. Yeah.
Letting you in.
Hi, welcome back to Holding Space with Tracy. We are recording live at the historic Stonewall Inn in the West Village. And today, my guest recently made his Broadway debut. He is a beloved television and film actor. And right now, he's starring in the Rocky Horror Show on Broadway. Please welcome Harvey Guillén. Harvey Guillén, it is really, really good to have you here on Holding Space. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for holding space for me.
Always. Well, you know, I've been holding space for you for
a while.
A long
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been holding space for several years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I first discovered you in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
And we did a junket for that. And then I did a couple different interviews with you.
That's right.
One when Guillermo came out.
Yes.
And then we did a cover story.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was 2022.
Oh, wow.
Already 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
I know.
It's kind of crazy. That went really fast, actually.
It did go fast.
Yeah.
Well, first, Harvey, just a general with, the state of the world and everything. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I think I'm there's a lot happening around.
Yeah.
Acknowledging it and taking that and focusing on how to make a change and difference, but also taking in the good.
Yeah.
The good. This week's been really great. I had my Broadway debut, and it's been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and now we're at the Stonewall Inn.
Right.
This is kind of iconic, you know?
It really is.
It really is. So
yeah.
I choose to look at the positive and not ignore the negative, but look at the positive and celebrate that.
Yes.
And it'll help you focus on the things that need to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll make you look forward to more great moments by helping us get to a better place.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely correct. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about the Stonewall Inn for a moment. We're here at this legendary historic space for queer people. What does the Stonewall Inn mean to you? Do you have a past with it?
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading up on it when I was pretty young. And then I'm from LA, so I remember reading the storyline that there was movement happening pretty early on, but not getting coverage of Stonewall was the first place that actually got coverage of the, queer community had enough, and they stood up and they said enough is enough. I love that it coincides with like a movement that happened as well with the Black Cat in LA that happened. And so when I grew up in LA, finding out that there was this like connection to Stonewall through LA that was like, both coasts had enough, made me feel like I was a part of something, just by being an Angelino and being queer myself that lived so close to the Black Cat. And I said I always wanted to visit Stonewall because I feel like that was obviously the first place that, was documented as a place of, big change. So it's still here. It's I think it's a beacon for young queer people to see that our forefathers had, come before us and kind of fought a really hard fight, and we're still fighting a really hard fight, but they really did have to fight a really harsh world. And I think what's scary to me now is that we're slowly slipping back into a place where all of their work is feeling that don't make it feel like it was for naught, right? So it feels a little bit scary in this moment. But it feels like it's a beacon of hope.
Right, because we know it's cyclical, and we've been here before, and we're going to keep fighting. Yeah. Well, you made your Broadway debut this week in the Rocky Horror Show.
Yes.
As Eddie and Dr. Scott.
Yes.
Tell me how you're feeling about all of this.
I'm on cloud nine. I feel like you're my first interview since opening.
I love that for us.
Yeah, you're really my first interview since opening, and I feel very blessed and very thankful. I was thinking about this today. It took me a couple of days to kind of think of the words, and all I could think of was thank you and being grateful. Thank you to all my teachers, my family who supported me all these years, encouraged me. Thank you to Sam Pinkleton for casting me in this and being an amazing director. Thank you to like everyone along the way. This was a dream of mine since I was 5 years old, and I did TV and film because I was in New York. There was nothing I could play in New York, and my agent was like, "There's this television show," and I was like, "I don't want to do TV and film. I want to be a real thespian on stage." And they're like, "Well, this is how much they pay for 1 week on set. We see television gets a bad rep." And the idea that like I had to pay rent, I was living in Brooklyn, and I was like, I need to gig, and I started TV film. I was like, oh, I like this, and then growing, and then my dream of Broadway kind of like became smaller, but it was always in the in the back burner of my head. And I was like, oh, one day, and then that day was this week, and I think like Susan Sarandon, who like originated the role of Janet on the film, and she was the first person I called when I got the role. And I actually, like, my sisters would think so. She like filmed it and stuff, and it's the cutest thing because she's always been a big supporter since I met her years and years ago. We shot a film together.
What was the film?
Blue Beetle.
Oh yeah, right. I remember.
And
sure.
It's a great film.
Yeah,
it's an absolutely great film, and I think it's great for any kid, but specifically like Latino kids to see themselves. It's the first Latino superhero.
Yeah.
And it's a great film. It just ironically came out. I remember having billboards of that in Times Square, which is my idea of making it is your face on billboards in Times Square because that's so New York.
Yeah.
And I was like, one day I remember being like here in, like out of high school, and I was like, one day maybe there's a billboard of like a show that I'll be in and whatnot. And one of the first billboards was Blue Beetle, and it was during the strike, so we couldn't promote it. So there was this giant, beautiful Blue Beetle poster in the middle of Times Square. I was like, look at that. And I was like,
you couldn't take a picture?
Share it. I couldn't take a picture of it. I couldn't share it with anyone. I took a picture, sent it to my mom, and I couldn't celebrate it. And because of the strike, unfortunately, we couldn't promote the film. And so the film came and went, and then people were like, when does that come out? They're like, it already did. Yeah. We just couldn't tell you about it. But then when it came out through streamers like Netflix and stuff, it was like the number one thing. People were like, this film's great. Why did it go straight to Netflix? Like, it didn't. Because
it didn't. We just couldn't talk about it.
We couldn't talk about it. But now I'm really glad that people have found it. And so we met in that film. We shot that in Atlanta. Became really good friends. Whenever I was in town, we'd go to dinner together and go to shows together. And she was the first person I called, and what an icon! Like, the movie came out 50 years ago, half a century ago.
Yeah, was it 70?
It was 50. The play came out 53 years ago, and the movie came out 50 years ago. Wow. So that's half a century ago, and and I admire her so much as an artist, as an actress, and as an advocate of in support of the queer community, and for her values, across the board that she stands behind, and she's just a great human being. So she's can't talk enough about her. She's one of my favorite people. But she was a big part. She came to the opening. She was the first person I called, and she was the first person to come to the opening.
What a big deal!
Yeah.
Were the cast members kind of losing it?
Oh yeah, they were like, "Damn it, Janet!" Like the original Janet's here. So.
That whole cast of the film.
Yeah.
Because they were a part of this show that celebrates gender and sexual fluidity. Yeah. In the 70s.
50 years ago, the actual words in the script haven't changed. Yeah. So the actual wording, like, I'm a sweet transvestite from Transylvania. Yeah. And like the idea that those words are being presented 50 years ago and the climate that it was 50 years ago, and it's still relevant. Kids are still like, Sam Pinkleton has this great phrase that this show saves lives.
Oh, it saved mine. It didn't save mine, but it was my safe haven.
But it makes you feel less like that you're an outsider. Yeah. When you find your group of aliens, when you find your group of people in your planet of Transylvania, you are welcome. And so it was made to make you feel that sometimes you do feel like an outsider and like you don't belong. But there's people out there just like you. And if you hold on just a little bit longer, you'll find your spaceship. Yes. And you'll find your planet. Yeah. Yeah, and it's such a great message, I think, till this day. And I remember when I was hearing Luke sing "I'm Going Home," because you watch the movie and you see like the late night show and stuff, but the way that he sings it, I remember like the cast was just crying, just the wording. It was like, oh my God, those words have been around for so long, but I don't think I've ever heard them.
It's really deep.
It's really deep, yeah. And it's a great show, and it's a great cast. I'm in love with all my cast members. They're just fantastic.
I love that.
Yeah.
You mentioned Stephanie Shu is
Stephanie
in it.
Shu is like
Luke Evans. Rachel
Dratch is in it. Juliette Lewis is amazing. She starts the show and finishes the show, and like Josh Rivera's in it. Has become like one of my best friends. Like it's just like the list goes on, and we have the most amazing like cast, like the Phantoms, Star, Boy Radio. Like it's just everyone is just so phenomenal that like I feel like we're so lucky. And Sam did that. Like he picked every single person was hand picked to be playing the role that they're playing, and then some of our cast members swing into the roles, and we're all excited to see each other. Like we're just like excited for someone to take on, like, it's because everyone's so phenomenal. Like we are very like lucky to have each other, and I think Sam is at the helm of that, so we're very lucky. Yeah,
Incredible.
Yeah.
What is your history with Rocky? When did it first come into your life?
I saw it at a friend's house, and I thought it was like porn. Because I grew up very Catholic, and so when I saw a man in like leggings and lingerie and stuff, I was like, oh, what is this? But
and then is it during Touch Me when all the different characters swap in having sex with Frankenfurter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, also in the pool scene in the movie.
Oh, okay.
In the
yes.
movie, in the pool scene when they all jump in and they give into ecstasy,
right?
And they're just giving, give yourself to pleasure. There's nothing. That's the line that Frankenfurter has.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not a problem giving yourself into pleasure, is there?
Yeah.
And I think we stop ourselves sometimes as humans. So I think at a young age, I remember seeing that, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, whoa. But I also remember thinking, huh? I remember as the years went by, it meant more and more to me, and I was like, oh, I feel like I resonate with this for a reason. And it was because discovering, my queerness, and I was like, oh, I think it's that, and I think and so many people resonate with the show and the queerness that comes with it. I know that Trixie Mattel,
right,
resonates
she's
with the show.
and she's in the documentary,
and it's so great, and I love that story, and I love her for sharing that, and like it's so beautiful, and to think about how many more people this show is going to touch.
I know.
It's going to be here long after we're gone. Like this show is going to be literally here. Someone's going to look at this like today that we're doing at Stonewall as an archive and be like, there was an interview that an actor did back in, and there it is. And they're going to pull up this interview.
I always think about that, Harvey.
It's going to be in an archive.
I always think about how while we're doing this work, we are creating our history.
Yeah. So hello from the past. Hello from the past. When you see this, hello, and keep spreading and keep fighting.
Yes.
Keep going forward.
Because we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
I used to, before I could go to the bars and I was coming out in Connecticut, I would go to Rocky in Manchester, Connecticut, and I ended up dating our Columbia.
Oh, I know someone in the band.
Exactly. But it was hugely important.
Yeah. And did you think going to that, like the late night showing and the shadow cast and whatnot, gave people who by any other, means would be like, oh, I don't consider myself queer, but it gave people the opportunity to be like, okay, it's a dress up thing. We have to dress up. And it's a thing. It's I feel like a lot of, that I've talked to, a lot of men who use that as like the first step to being like, that's when I first did drag, or like that's when I first realized that I might be queer, because they use the show or the movie as an excuse to kind of like take that, put the toe in the water, kind of test the waters.
Sure.
And I think that's great. Like, the idea that a show could help someone find themselves is so rare, because you don't have a lot of shows that give you that opportunity, especially being a queer person. You don't have a lot of things that make you feel completely free, or the freedom to be liberated, to be your authentic self. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love, though, in this show too, you're playing
two characters.
You're playing Eddie and Dr. Scott, and Eddie's the motorcycle.
He's a little tough, but he also he's unapologetic, and I feel that Eddie, drugs, being queer, like it's like he's just this like really grunge guy, but he is unapologetic about who he is. Yeah. And Dr. Scott is more academia, but yet we found a way to, like, if you look closely in Eddie's ripped up jeans, he's wearing stockings underneath that have little like studs on it, and those are the exact same stockings that Dr. Scott wears later. They were family, uncle and nephew, and even though the uncle lived a private life, he was also like sexually free, but behind closed doors. And so the idea that some people make the choice to be like behind closed doors and they live this life up front in public, I was like, society must be protected, and deep down inside they're kinky as fuck, and they're queer themselves, and they're too scared, so they attack.
Does that sound like anybody?
Sound like anyone? Sound like anyone? Hey, sound like anyone?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to point that out, and point the fact that like he's fighting this like society, fighting the aliens, which could be seen as a metaphor, and like fighting what's seen as traditional values. And deep down inside, once he takes that whiff of just ecstasy that just lets him be himself, people are like, wait a minute, you're people who live in glass houses, Do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
like the idea that it was very important for me to show that and show that there was a connection, that one of them lived their life freely and out in the public, and he was condemned for it. And the other person was exactly the same, had those same qualities, but he hid them behind academia and, you know, a degree and traditional values, and attacked those people openly. With all along, you were one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds
Which
like
still happens.
Still happens.
Yeah.
But I had the best compliment from Susan Sarandon. She goes like, your two characters are so completely different. Your voice is so different. I made a strong choice to make the voices different. And someone reviewed this and said, it's not until Act 2 that I realized that Harvey Guillén is playing the two characters. They thought that I died as Eddie after that.
Right.
Spoiler, Eddie dies in Act 1. And then in Act 2, they didn't realize it was me until halfway through.
Yeah.
Like they had to go back to the program and be like, that's because they're two different characters, and I wanted to be two different completely, you know, approaches, but still linear to family. They were connected. So, yeah.
And Eddie's big song is
Hoppatootie.
Hoppatootie.
Yeah. But smash. Oh, I really love that rockin'.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And do you wear the love and hate?
Yeah. We
Love it.
we used to put glitter on the actual fingers, but he has a quick change after Hoppatootie. I run downstairs. I literally have to get back into Dr. Scott. So I start as Dr. Scott, get out of the mustache, get out of the eyebrows, the wig, everything, and go into full Eddie frozen freezer glam.
Right.
And our amazing makeup artist Sterling does this fantastic job. It's just beautiful. It takes 20 minutes to get me into this makeup, and I do the song for 2 minutes and have to wipe it all off. And it's not like it's like the biggest tragedy. It's like every she would say it's every drag queen's nightmare, putting like your whole face beat, go on stage for 2 minutes for a number, and then wash it all off, and then go back into Dr. Scott. And so it's like it's a lot of my skin, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Harvey, I have arrived at my central question of this podcast, which is, what is your defying gravity? That piece of music, art, TV, film, literature that has been with you throughout much of your life, and its meaning possibly changes over time?
I think for me, that would have to be, weirdly enough, that it does connect to different parts of my life, the movie Annie.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Because that's what I saw when I was 5 years old, and I fell in love with it. I saw it over winter break. My mom, she was a single mom. She was working several jobs and was home for winter break, and I saw this, what I thought was a new TV show, and I was like, it's pretty long. It's like, the commercials keep coming, and this is a pretty long show.
Two and a half hours later.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what a budget. But I remember seeing that and thinking, that is so cool. Because these kids were like, they were just like cleaning, dancing. They were poor. And I was like, I grew up very poor. And I was just like, Mom, I want to be that when I grow up. I want to be an orphan. And she looked at me, she's like, ¿Qué? ¿Estás loco? And I was like, well, I want to be that, like the kids on the show. No, son actores, they're actors. And I was like, wow. So that really kind of, that started my whole trajectory into acting. Annie did. And so I remember telling my mom that I wanted to be an actor, and she said we didn't have money for that, because and I was like, you got to have money to play poor on television? Like, it's like, what is that? Yeah. I'm like, what? She said, you need training, you need dancing, acting, and I don't have money for that. And I was like, oh, okay, then I won't do it. She's like, no, I didn't say you couldn't do it. You can do whatever you want. She was like, this is America. You can do whatever you want if you set your mind to it. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, if you find your way, you can do it. And as the years, go by, that stayed with me, because it really did kind of put me in a trajectory of like, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. And I did. And I just remember focusing on wanting to do this so bad that I remember when I was shortly after that, they were doing a class at the nearby community center. And my fellow thespian friend, she was like, they're doing it for $12.50, and they're going to discover Disney Kids. That's how they discovered the Disney Kids. And I was like, really? Told my mom, and she was like, oh, I don't have the money for that. She told her mom she'd give her 20. She let her keep the change. I think we bought ice cream with it. And
that's a good use of the 20. Yeah.
Although
now you couldn't.
No, you couldn't do that. But I remember my mom saying, no, we don't have money for that. Tenemos dinero. But I was like, damn it. So I was walking home from school with her, and there was a man going through trash can. And I was like, what is he doing? It's so sticky and it's trash. And she goes like, oh, vende los botes. He's selling the cans. I was like, you make money from trash? He goes like, mijo, this is America. You can make money from trash. And I was like,
that's a lesson.
That's a lesson. And I remember running and getting a coat hanger and making it into a long finger, and got a plastic bag. And I collected trash to pay for my first improv class. That's how I paid for my first acting class.
How old were you?
I was 6 by then. 6 years old.
6 years old. Oh my gosh.
And I remember I felt bad after that ever asking for any kind of financial help for my like training, so I would work at jobs to like pay for my training. I was a roller skate runner from a taco stand and a swap meet, but I would just take the tacos to the tables and I work off tips. And I remember doing that
on roller skates
on weekends. Yeah, and they were like, this kid is like a little chubby kid with roller skates going back and forth. People feel bad for him, give him like a 5. And I used that until I sold chocolate.
You worked it.
I worked it, and I've been working. So when people say it's funny that, oh my God, you're so lucky, you found an amazing show like Shadows, and you're an overnight success, and it's like, it's not overnight. You never know what someone's journey is. Overnight, it's not. You don't see the years of someone's hard work to get somewhere. Overnight is when the door was open and you're ready.
Yeah.
And that's when you take advantage of it. And you're just like, here I am. People are like, wow, where have you been? Well, I've been here.
I've been here.
I've been here. Yeah. But it just took a while to get here.
And let me see if I remember this correctly. Did you also get to sing Hard Knock Life in Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
Yes, I did.
So that was how it evolved.
Yes. And I remember like when I was in Vancouver during the pandemic, during the pandemic, one of the first shows to go back to work. You know, testing every day, hazmat suits, your makeup artist would be in a hazmat suit putting your makeup on. I was like, this feels weird. This feels like we shouldn't be here, right? And we did it. And I remember singing
The Show Must Go On.
The Show Must Go On. And I remember singing Hard Knock Life and thinking like, I did it. I'm one of the kids in Annie.
Wasn't quite how you imagined.
Not how I imagined it, but it was for television and it was great. And man, like if you put it out to the universe, I'm a big believer, and I think we talked about this before. It really does, unfold. And sometimes the universe sends you something that you didn't even expect, and it completely, it was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. So you took your first improv class at around 6. You grew up in Orange County?
I was born in Orange County, and then I grew up in SGV, San Gabriel Valley area.
Yes.
So like El Monte, San Gabriel, San Gabriel, So all the area, well, San Gabriel is San Gabriel.
Right.
San Gabriel is how you say it in Spanish. Pasadena area. So grew up in that area all through high school.
Yeah. And you started doing musical theater as a
in
kid.
High school, actually. In high school. Well, I did musical theater in elementary school. My first role in an original musical written by our teacher was, it was interesting. But they wanted me to be the lead boy, and I was like, "There's a dog in the show." And they're like, "Yeah, but he doesn't have. I'll be the dog." And they're like, "But the dog doesn't have any." I was like, "I'll be the dog." And they were like, "But we think you could." I literally fought to play the dog. Because I knew that it would accent my quality of acting at that point at a higher level. It would accentuate my ability and my talents. It was
so you went method as a dog.
I went method, and I really loved it. And then for the Christmas one, they were like, okay, we have a show idea. It was like Frosty the Snowman. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And was dressing up as Frosty the Snowman and singing Frosty the Snowman. So I did that with Miss Crouch. Miss Crouch, thank you so much. What a great teacher. I still remember her being
she was your
Crouch.
drama?
Yeah, she was my choir teacher.
Okay.
And she was no nonsense. And it was around the time that I had seen Sister Act. So I saw her like through those eyes. I was like, she's the choir teacher. She's cool. And she's no nonsense. Like she would make you, and we were like in 5th grade at this point. Yeah. So like we were pretty young, but she wanted you to be the best version of yourself. She talked to us like young adults. She didn't baby us. And I really appreciate that. Looking back, because I was like, she would tell me, she's like, Harvey, work on your riff. Do that again. It's this, la, 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 la. And you're like, la, la. No, it's la, la, la. You can do it. Do it again. Yeah. And I remember her like pushing me and then like pushing me to be the best version of myself. I never forgot that. And then when I was in college and I did a professional musical, she was the first person I invited.
And what was the musical?
That was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And I remember inviting her, and I never forgot about the people who along the way helped me, like, Mr. Bruce, who helped me, who now goes by Bobby Bruce. And congratulations. And like, this was something that I admire so many years since I was in 4th grade. Yeah. And they were the mayor of Rosemead, and they were like, they just always push their students to be the best version of themselves. Yeah. And then I had teachers like, Sherry Brown in college, who I just loved. I loved her so much that for Halloween I went as her, and I impersonated her in front of her. And she was like, well, let me see it. Go ahead. And I was like, okay. And I did impersonation of her, and she goes, and she loved it. And I just started thinking,
incredible.
Everyone I admire in my whole life, I've never forgotten how important they are in my life. So thank you to everyone.
I love that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Shout out to all the incredible teachers,
yes,
right?
teachers who are so
Oh my God.
underpaid, and, just not like given the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I went to public school my whole life, so that's
Right.
another level of like, respect your teachers, pay them more, please. Let's all pay them more. Yeah.
Yes, keep public schools alive.
And public programs, theater programs alive. That's my big,
Right.
passion. Yeah.
I know. And arts program, the whole thing.
Art, all of the whole shebang. Yeah.
You did Shadows for, was it six
seasons?
6 seasons.
Altogether 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you just reflect a little bit on what playing Guillermo meant to you and this, again, a show with sexual fluidity, like just wild.
I just love that show was never had to explain any of the vampire sexuality. It was unapologetic. Right. Because when you're a vampire and you live forever and you're immortal, like it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you do anything you want and sexually free? You're going to get bored and be sexually free. Yeah. And they never apologize. And the only human story that actually carried the weight of that, which we do every day, is Guillermo. Yeah. Like when they came to me in the season and they said, hey, we're going to have him come out. And we're like, oh. And it was like, is he coming out as what? Queer? Is like bisexual? It's like, he's going to come out as gay. I was like, perfect. Because for so long he was like he didn't talk about his sexuality, right. So he could be asexual, I was like, so do you want to so when we talked about it, I was like, perfect, that's great. Yeah. And shooting the scene of him coming out to his mom and his family was very, it resonated with me. And it was, I think the first take was not even me acting. It was me falling back into a place of this feels very close to home, right. Just because I came out to my mom that way. And I remember it was being like, this is going to mean a lot to especially queer Latinos because in our culture it's very hard to be completely open with your family about your queerness because we come from very machismo culture, and so it's hard. And so I knew this would be something, and to this day I still have people who come up to me at conventions and they say, watching that episode gave me the freedom to tell my Mexican parents or my Salvadorian or my Chilean parents, it made me feel comfortable telling them, or it made them feel comfortable hearing me out because they watched the show together. And so the show actually has brought families together, and I thought that was so great. People who haven't talked to each other. Someone just came up to me the last week after the show at previews and said, I didn't talk to my brother for 10 years. And the only thing that brought us back together was every week we check in and be like, did you watch the episode? Yeah. And that was the icebreaker.
Wow.
To talking to family again. And I was like, that's crazy, but great. But I also have a problem with the idea that, when we're talking about coming out, the idea has always kind of stayed in my head that coming out has always been for someone else. I feel like coming out has always been because someone pressures you, your mom wants to know, or your friends are like, just tell me, do you like boys or girls? Just tell me, we won't tell. No one wakes up and goes, oh my God, I'm queer. I'm going to tell everyone today.
Right. Right.
It's never that easy. Yeah. You toil with it for a while. You question, is this what I feel? Is this true? No. You deny, maybe. Well, you think about it for a while. So coming out,
and you tell different people.
And you tell different people because I feel like coming out shouldn't be phrased that way. It shouldn't be called coming out. It should be called letting you in. And when I let you in, what you do with that information will determine if I open that door to my house again.
Oof, that's really powerful. Yeah.
Letting you in because this is my furniture. This is the paintings I like. This is my rug. This is my couch. What do you think? And the steps that you take after that will determine if I open that door again. And some people, unfortunately, destroy people's homes.
My God, Harvey, that's a really beautiful metaphor.
Destroy people's homes, and they put vaults and close their blinds and put wooden pieces over them, and they will never open up that house again. So what you do with that information is so important. So when someone opens the door and lets you in, wipe your feet and be very careful when you're inside the home. And
choose your words.
Choose your words wisely.
Yeah. And bring a gift.
Bring a gift. Bring a gift.
Well, that's a powerful image. So thank you very much. I want to talk to you about some other projects that you have coming up. You have Serial Killer.
Killer Stories with Harvey Guillén.
Yes.
Which is based off Serial on
Yes. Tell me
it's
about this.
It's been such a whirlwind with that. The team sent me these flowers for opening night, and that was the same day I think they announced that the podcast is one of the top 20 downloaded podcasts for Spotify in history. which is
incredible.
Incredible. True crime has a huge fan base,
Right.
obviously, and this is the first time we've done it on camera. So we do it on Spotify, so you can listen to it on the way home from work or on the way to work, and late at night when you're going to bed. The best one is when people tell me they fall asleep to my voice, telling them about a serial killer, and I was like, how sweet. Oh, good night.
Well,
sweet dreams.
I mean, I fall asleep to Mariska Hargitay and SVU all the time.
Of course, who wouldn't? It's just like Marisha. It's like the idea that now we do it on camera, so we can actually put images and stuff.
Sure.
It's a new thing, and it was one of the first deals that they did with Netflix with podcasts doing on camera as well. And I'm just blown away by the response. So if you haven't seen it, it's Killer Stories with Harvey Guillén. You should listen to it on Spotify, but also you can watch it on Netflix. So you can actually go to Netflix and go and look at podcasts, and you'll see our face in Killer Stories. And it's like, it's really great because we cover everything, just like from true crime. It's just like from like killers to robberies to like people. It's all cautionary tales. Also, I feel like sometimes when you hear them, we try to be as cautious about the families of some of the victims that are still alive, and be like, nobody wants to be repeating history like that, so we have to be careful, and we honor that. So we do it in a way that it's like, it's a cautionary tale to tell people about what happened, but we're not like glorifying like some monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a history with true crime? Is it something that you have
I've always
into?
been drawn to, and I think because of Shadows, the darkness has like that world of like dark and grungy and like murder or vampires or killer, like it seems to follow like this trajectory of my career that people are like, oh, I loved you in Shadows. That was a comedy, even though it was very macabre and like really goth and whatnot. But it was a comedy at the end of the day.
It was a comedy.
It was a comedy.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, people are like, yeah, but that kind of goes with this. And I think maybe because of that, I fall into like films that kind of fall into that genre. But I really do love true crime. It's kind of like my sister and I talk about it, and she's the one who got me onto it. So I've been a big fan of true crime for years. And so now to host an actual show about it and bring a little bit of lightness to when you're talking about it, because sometimes it can get so dark that you're like, we don't want to glorify this,
right?
We don't want to make this as like a how-to pamphlet,
No, God, no.
Yeah, and just like that was like my big thing, so we don't do that. Sometimes I feel like other podcasts might sound like they're it sounds like you're glorifying this, and it's a little like, but we don't do that. We make it like these are the facts, and also we lean into the stupidity sometimes of like how mad the suspect makes us, like if it's a robbery or something, we're like, this idiot
right,
did this and this and this and whatnot, and lean into the punishment that they get as well, because we need to remember that there's consequences for things that you do.
It's such an interesting thing that people are kind of obsessed with.
We're obsessed. I mean, if you think about it historically, like people have been obsessed with stuff that's true crime for like think about the 1920s, where like that was a form of entertainment, like mobsters that got killed, and it's like, gunned down and blah blah. It's like, and the audience loves it, and they'll show up to court hearings and stuff, and it's like something about us. It's the dark side of human beings. It's like, it's not healthy, but it's healthy at the same time, because we're inquisitive and we want to know. We want to know things. Why did that happen? And we love
try
gossip.
to understand that.
And it's. I think I see it more as like the storyteller around the campfire. Why do we like a good campfire story, a spooky campfire story? Because we're human and we lean into like, oh my God, what? Because we can't imagine that ever happening to us. But then we start imagining, what if that happened to us? And that's when the flips, and you're like, oh. And so the cautionary tale is that we tell you a campfire story, and then you lean in and be like, don't forget, and they're like, no, I won't, good to know. And then they go and they buy pepper spray, and they're like, and they be careful, it's a cautionary tale.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you, very honored.
And then you also have a film coming up at Tribeca.
Yes.
It's called That Friend.
That Friend, with Josh Brenner and Billy Lord.
With Billy Lord.
Billy Lord.
Come on.
Gosh, Billy Lord. One of my favorite people. We just went to celebrate her birthday last year in Vegas. We went to see Backstreet Boys.
At the Sphere.
The Sphere, yeah.
How fun.
It was the best. In fact, I think she's coming into town for my birthday pretty soon. So she's the best. I love her. Her whole family's the best. And became really close after the film. I hadn't met her before. Okay. And we shot this film about almost 2 years ago, actually. And it's one of my favorite things I've done. So if you're in New York and you're in Tribeca, come see That Friend. It's so great.
What's his quick synopsis?
Basically, it's about we all have that one friend who's your, all the friends have like pawned off to each other because they always are the ones who get a little too rowdy at parties. They're a little bit too loud at the dinner table. They're that friend that, they mean well, and we all like them, but they always just take it one step too far. They're the ones that you're helping into a cab at the end of the night, and they're the ones that you're helping that friend.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he follows Josh's character on a weekend. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. He was supposed to just get a ride to Palm Springs, but then his stay fell through, and then the new girlfriend, which is Billy, to Josh's character, says, "Well, just stay with us. It's a romantic weekend." And I'm kind of like the third wheel.
Yeah.
And then throughout this, I kind of destroyed, any kind of connection they have by mishaps and whatnot in comedy ensues. And there's actually a great finale to it, so I recommend you see it. It's we all have that friend.
Yeah.
We all have
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
They originally wanted me to play Josh's character when the producers came to me like years ago, and it was the straight leading man to Billy's, to playing Billy's boyfriend. And I was like, that's cool. It's like, but I was coming off of playing Guillermo, which is kind of like the straight man in Shadows. He couldn't be over the top. When it comes to he's very
Guillermo's the
very grounded one.
Yeah.
And he never raised his voice louder than a soft whisper. So he talks this way. And I was like, I'm kind of not wanting to play that again.
Yeah.
And they wanted that for that character, which was perfect. But Josh is so perfect. I recommend it. Josh.
Oh, nice.
I was like, how about this guy plays
really
that?
Good.
And then they were like, that's great. Do you want to play the other role then? I was like, yeah, the other part is bigger and louder. He's something I haven't played before. No one's seen me play that kind of character before.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it because people are going to be
right.
I always love when people are like, I didn't know you could do that. That's always like is it a compliment or an insult?
Harvey has range.
It's range. I want to be able to play range. And I like that. So it's definitely something you haven't seen me play before. So I'm excited for people to see it.
I love it. Well, before I get to my final question, is there anything else you want to be sure folks know about?
I mean, I just want people to know that here we are today, you and I, holding space at the Stonewall Inn, and we hope to continue holding space in the future, and we hope that all of you out there continue to hold space for the community. And if you are part of the community or an ally, now more than ever, we should unite and hold space together. So let's continue to do that.
Well, Harvey, yes. First off, I love that, but also you anticipated my final question. Which was, what are you holding space for?
I'm holding space for that. I'm holding space for us.
I love it.
I feel this could be a moment where we're felt that we're divided and feel defeated, or it could be a moment where we unite tighter than ever and closer than ever, and don't let go. And so let's really hold that space together.
Yeah.
Let's really hold that space together and hold each other, because I feel like now more than ever. So thank you.
We need each other
too.
Holding Space with Tracy is hosted by Tracy E. Gilchrist, that's me, and executive producers are Tracy E. Gilchrist, Joao Del Stella, and Toni Morrison. Co-producer Mason May, publicist Toni Morrison, editor Allison Tate, videography Kevin Coop and William Mason, and photography Emily Teague.